This is a new 2024 Polestar 2. There are some changes on the outside, some changes on the inside, but some big changes underneath the skin. And in this video, we're gonna find out, has it improved the Polestar 2? Visually, there are a couple of different changes to differentiate the 2024 from the previous model years of Polestar 2, and the biggest visual change is going to be in the front. This is a new panel which kind of covers up what used to be an air intake. Now this is called the Smart Zone, and there's this little panel in the front here where they hide the mid-range radar. They even label it as such. You also have your front camera there, and Polestar says that they really don't do facelifts. They don't want to mess with the original design of the car, but they want to tweak and improve it here and there. And they say that basically what they've done with the front end of this Polestar is they've gone from a face that can breathe to a face that can see. And that's the rationale behind that. Now look, I'm not sure I entirely agree with the breathe versus seeing design philosophy, but the front end design still looks good on the Polestar 2. It's always been an attractive car, and it still is in the 2024 model year. We've got new wheels on the 2024 Polestar 2 as well. This is the 20-inch wheel option with a new forged wheel, a two-tone look, more in line with what you'd find on the Polestar 3. And then this one has the performance package as well, so you'll see those Polestar Brembo brakes poking through there in this fantastic gold yellow color, and they've even color matched the little valve stem cap. Check this out. Look at that. I think that's a really fun little bit of attention to detail. There are fewer changes on the inside of the 2024 Polestar 2 relative to the outside or the powertrain changes. Now, the center of the interior is certainly the 11.2-inch touchscreen display with software made in collaboration with Google, and that is such a fantastic thing. So it gives you access to stuff like Google Maps. You've got all sorts of different apps that you can configure and add to this vehicle as well. You have Apple CarPlay as well if you so desire it, Spotify, right? I mean, it's such an easy to use, well integrated setup. You got shortcuts across the bottom of the screen, and then you've got all your car settings located up here at the top of the screen. Now, if we look in the vehicle settings, you got 3 different steering levels from light to firm. You've got your ESC modes, 1 pedal driving modes, off, low, and standard, and then there's a creep mode as well. So if you want your car to creep like an internal combustion vehicle with the torque converter, you can turn that on as well. We have our assistance page, so the pilot software you can get on Polestar 2, which gives you adaptive cruise, the lane centering, right, with your hand on the wheel. All of that now is included as standard on every all-wheel drive Polestar 2, which is fantastic. We've got our charging screen here where you can set your charging limit. You can also change the amp input, which is great. And then let's go to more. You can see car status. You can change all the different settings. All is very cool on the screen. So I really like what they've done here. We also have a full 360-degree camera. Let's put the car into reverse. Hit 360, and you can see we have camera angles around the entire vehicle, which is very cool. Now, one thing I love that Polestar has done is they have eliminated the need for a power button. So you just get in the car, put your foot on the brake, and you're ready to select a drive direction via this little Polestar shifter, reverse, neutral, drive, and park. And then you have your volume control up here. And then in front of that, you'll notice the new standard wireless charger. It's now standard across every Polestar 2, as well as USB-C ports. There's 4 of them in the car in total. A little bit too much piano black for my liking across the center binnacle here. Just picks up a lot of fingerprints. You got 1 cup holder, good sizable cup holder in front of the armrest, and then if you want a second one, you lift open the armrest and you're going to find a second one there as well. And you also have some nice storage spaces on the edges of the console here, which is a great place to keep your phone and the like. Now the dash material is very kind of interesting across the center here, kind of this perforated cloth. You've got some interesting trim. You've got dual air vents up on top of the dash, and you've got a large configurable driver instrument cluster, which can change via little buttons here on the steering wheel. Super easy to go through the different modes. You can set it up for more performance driving, or if you want navigation, you can also see all of that there. Nice, easy to access stocks, and then a very nicely designed door panel. You got your switches, got some little interesting design cues like this little button here holding on this leather piece. And then this car does have the upgraded leather interior, and these seats are easily some of the best in the world. I mean, there's no secret that Polestar is closely related to Volvo, and these Volvo-style headrests are just phenomenal, super comfortable, excellent seats, some of the best in the industry. All right, so to start our drive in the Polestar 2, we're actually starting out in the rear-wheel drive Polestar 2. Now, this is an interesting story, right? The car launched as a dual motor all-wheel drive, and then they came out with the more affordable two-wheel drive one, which was powered by the front wheels. Well, now for 2024, they've made the affordable two-wheel drive one rear-wheel drive, so they've moved the motor from the front to the back, and this is an all-new motor in this car that makes a lot more power, 299 horsepower. So it's up 68 horsepower, and we're looking at 361 pound-feet of torque. So this car is supposedly over a second quicker from 0 to 60 than the old one, and we're going to run a quick 0 to 60 here in a sec to see how it does. Now, this car is exciting to me, right? It starts at $49,900 before the $1,400 destination, and it honestly doesn't feel very different than that much more expensive dual motor car that we were in, taking a look at a little bit earlier. You still have the same 11.2-inch screen, you still have the same shifter, a lot of the same knobs. We don't have, for example, the Harman Kardon or the leather seats in this car, but it still feels like a nice place to spend time. Maybe just not quite as luxurious as the dual motor performance. Now we are about to merge onto the road. Let's see how the acceleration feels. I'm going to give it a quick squirt here. Ooh, a little bit of tire spin out the back. So this car is able to build acceleration much more quickly than the outgoing front-wheel drive one, because you're not constantly fighting with torque steer, constantly fighting with those front wheels to gain grip. So pretty good little shunt of torque there. Feels very adequate. I think this car would take 90% of new cars on the road. But what we're going to do here is I'm going to have our videographer hop out. I'm going to run a quick 0 to 60 mile an hour test on this higher speed road, and we shall see how the new Polestar 2 rear-wheel drive performs. All right, we're all lined up. Got the Solo DL performance timer in position. In 3, 2, 1, full throttle. Good launch in the rear-wheel drive car. Very impressed with that right off the bat. And there is 60 miles an hour. Wow, we just did 60 in 5.66 seconds. 5.65? 5.66, 264 feet. Now we are at a pretty high state of charge, 88%, but 5.66 is a very impressive result for our first go. Yeah, I'll definitely take that. We're gonna spin around the other way and give it another go. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Good launch out of this rear-wheel drive car. Very impressed with how it accelerates from a stop. There's 57, 5.79. So first run 5.66, second run 5.79, 267 feet. So pretty good result out of the Polestar 2 rear-wheel drive. One rather funny design cue that Polestar has been doing for a while now is the little sticker on the side of the door that alerts everybody, including yourself, exactly what Polestar you bought. This is a Polestar 2 with the 78 kilowatt hour battery and 335 kilowatts of power. One thing that is a little bit odd for the 2024 model year is there are two flavors of Polestar. There is this all-wheel drive version, but there's also a more affordable new rear-wheel drive version, which we have a video over at TFL if you want to find out all the details. Now, the all-wheel drive version is more expensive, a lot quicker, has a slightly smaller battery. The gross is 78 kilowatt hours versus 82 in the rear-wheel drive car, which I think is pretty interesting. And it also charges slower, Polestar says, due to cooling. So you spend more money, you get a faster car, but you get a smaller battery that charges slower. So the peak charge rate on the all-wheel drive car is 155 kilowatts compared to the rear-wheel drive car, which will do a peak of 205 kilowatts. That's really interesting. Both cars have an AC charge rate of 11 kW. All right, so now we are behind the wheel of the dual motor performance Polestar 2. Now this makes 455 horsepower, which is more than the standard dual motor, and I mean that's some big numbers, right? We're looking at a pretty significant bump up in horsepower and a really significant bump up in torque, something like 200 pound-feet more torque than the standard rear-wheel drive Polestar 2. We also have different suspension. This car has a performance pack, so this one's a fully loaded, ready to race one. We have a lot less range, so the most range you can get in Polestar 2 is 320. This car with the sticky summer tires, we're looking at closer to like 247, 250 miles of range. So a really big range hit. And then of course, everyday driving, a little bit of a hit and ride quality. So it's a little bit firmer, right? Definitely tell this is a performance oriented suspension setup. We got a larger wheel, we got a more aggressive summer tire, but this is the car you'd want if you want to do some back road cruising, or maybe an autocross, or perhaps even a track day. This is the one to get. What I think is a little odd though is that the dual motor doesn't get the higher charging rate due to the increased cooling of the single motor car. So 155 versus 205 kilowatt peak. Yeah, that is a little bit of head scratcher. It also gets a slightly smaller battery, 4 kilowatt hours less than the dual motor setup. So I kind of wish that we'd have those higher numbers in the more expensive all-wheel drive spec, but that's just what Polestar's decided to do, at least at launch, for the 2024 model year Polestar 2. All right, so 0 to 60 in the Polestar 2 with the performance pack. I'm just gonna floor it, brake, torque, traction control off in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Oh, a lot more acceleration than the other car, and there is 60. 3.98. That's a pretty serious number, and that's about 0.1 of a second quicker than what Polestar says this car should do. So right around 4 seconds, 0 to 60. Yeah, pretty impressed with that. We're gonna try it one more time going in the other direction. Oh, impressive launch out of the Polestar 2, and 60 there, 4.02. So right around 4 seconds, 0 to 60. Impressive time in this car. One thing I love about the Polestar 2 is you do have a front trunk. Now you have to open it manually like you'd expect out of the hood of any other car. There's a little lever you pull, but it's a good size space. So we pop it open, not quite as big as some of the Tesla offerings, but plenty of space to hold your included charge connector and of course your Polestar repair kit along with the jack. Now, other things worth noting under here is you do have a little place to fill up your windshield washer fluid, and you know, it's a pretty well packaged car. I always love to see front trunks on a full electric vehicle. Now, the Polestar 2 may look like a sedan, but it really is a liftback because the rear glass lifts up with the trunk portion, almost in a hatchback kind of design when you go to open up the cargo space. About 14 cubic feet worth of space in the trunk with the seats up, and roughly 38 cubic feet when you fold the seats down. And you do have a little ski pass here, which I absolutely love. That's a great little touch. Now, as we lift up the floor portion here, you'll notice you got a little divider here. So if you want to keep your luggage from running into each other, you can do so. And then underneath the whole floor, you have another ginormous cubby that is a great place for keeping valuables nice and secure and out of the view of prying eyes. Now, stepping into the rear of the Polestar 2, first thing which is interesting to me is that even at my driving position at 6 feet tall, I have pretty decent leg room, not pressed up against the back of the front seat. Headroom though is a little bit compromised. So at 6 feet tall, I am running into the surround for the panoramic glass roof. Comfortable rear seat as well. Could use a little bit more headroom. This car has every option. So, you know, Polestar 2 starts at $49,900 before the $1,400 destination charge. This car though is closer to $69,650, close to 70 grand before that $1,400 destination charge. So you get the heated rear seats, you get the Harman Kardon, you get all the optional goodies, but you are going to have to pay for it in this loaded model. Overall, guys, I'm very impressed with the Polestar 2. You know, I haven't had an opportunity to spend a lot of time behind the wheel of this vehicle, but from what I've seen on this first drive here in Denver, it's a comfortable package that offers a lot of performance and a lot of luxury, especially compared to what Tesla offers. Although you do pay for it close to $70,000, this is not an affordable vehicle, and the range, certainly compared to Tesla on paper, coming in at about 250 is not quite there. But if you want a very comfortable, very safe vehicle that will definitely hustle around some turns, you gotta check out the Polestar 2 all-wheel drive with the performance package. Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. This has been Tommy behind the camera Cole. We'll see you in the next video.